Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode. This is Lady Show Story. Have you ever gone to a gathering you were really looking forward to, only to end up feeling totally disappointed? You might have imagined good food, laughter, and lively chat, but when you actually got there, the atmosphere was stiff, the food scant, and the hosts overly formal, making the whole evening awkward and tiring. Today, I'm going to share a 19th century American tale, The Watkinson Evening, written by Eliza Leslie in 1846. It's a story that pokes fun at a gathering that seemed respectable on the surface, but was a total flop underneath. Through its witty, satirical tone, it highlights the vanity and emptiness of some social occasions, and invites us to think about what true hospitality and good manners really are. So, the story goes like this. One day, the narrator and his friend's family received a rather special invitation. It was from the Watkinson family in Philadelphia. They were hosting an evening gathering. At first, the invitation felt like quite a big deal. Being asked along seemed to mean you were noticed, acknowledged, maybe even getting a foot in a more respectable social circle. Now, the friend's mother wasn't particularly keen on going, but in the end, she decided to accept. After all, back then, getting invited to such a gathering carried a certain sense of honor and expectation. As everyone was getting ready for the gathering, they couldn't help but let their imaginations run a bit. The Watkinson family had a reputation for being respectable, at least in the eyes of outsiders. So surely, the evening wouldn't be too shabby, right? The narrator and his friend's family secretly hoped it might turn out to be a refined night, full of pleasant conversation, a warm atmosphere, and perhaps even some music or entertainment. To them, it was a chance to step into what they thought of as the upper social circle. Finally, the day of the evening arrived. But the moment they stepped through the door, they were taken aback. The house felt cold and unwelcoming. Everything was tidy enough, but plainly decorated, lacking any of the warmth they had expected. One by one, the members of the Watkinson family appeared, acting overly formal towards their guests. They tried so hard to seem proper and polite, but it all came across as awkward and unnatural. As time went on, the evening officially got underway. But it quickly became clear that there was very little fun to be had. No music, no dancing, not even a hint of light-hearted entertainment. The hosts tried to make conversation, but it was either dull and empty, or so stiff that it felt like everyone was sitting an exam. The guests could only nod along politely, their smiles growing ever more forced. The whole gathering felt awkward and stifling. Time slowly ticked by, and at last, the food was brought out. Everyone had hoped that at least the food might lift the mood a little. But the snacks that appeared were pitifully few and of poor quality. Dry little bites that hardly counted as a proper treat. It was clear the Watkinsons wanted to put on a show, but weren't willing to genuinely provide for their guests. As the evening dragged on, the atmosphere hit rock bottom. Guests grew increasingly bored, their smiles forced, and some even found themselves glancing towards the door, wishing it would all be over. What should have been a time for conversation had turned into a long, drawn-out ordeal. Everyone was sitting together, but their minds were miles away. Finally, the evening came to an end. As the narrator and his friend's family stepped out the door, all they felt was a huge sense of relief. Looking back on the night, the cold, unwelcoming house, the stiff conversations, the stingy food, and that suffocating awkwardness, it was clear that what was meant to be a proper gathering had turned into the most disastrous social experience imaginable. After listening to this story, doesn't it make you think of some of the events you've been to yourself? Maybe it was a friend's gathering, a work do, or some other formal occasion. We often turn up with high expectations, only to find that the event is all about appearances, and the atmosphere feels anything but comfortable. This story reminds us that true etiquette isn't about fancy decorations or rigid rules, it's about making people feel at ease and genuinely welcome. Rather than chasing grandeur, we should focus on sincerity. What leaves a lasting impression isn't the elegance of the house, but the care of the host. So next time you invite friends over, don't stress about whether the table is lavish or the venue perfect. With genuine thoughtfulness and a warm heart, you've already nailed the art of hospitality. Thanks for listening to Lady Show Story. I hope today's tale, The Watkinson Evening, not only brought a knowing smile to your face but also got you thinking about what true hospitality really means. If you enjoyed the story, do give us a like, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you won't miss the next episode. See you next time, and may every gathering you attend be warm, genuine, and utterly comfortable.